Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you went into a coffee shop, you ordered decaf coffee, you tasted it, and then you say, bang on, that tastes really great? What? Never? Didn't happen to you? Maybe you're drinking milky drinks, maybe cappuccino, lattes, or you don't have anything to compare it against. Either way, I'm sorry for you. Just kidding. Anyway, folks, what is wrong with the decaf coffee nowadays? Why are we end up being served a lower quality coffee than the standard version? Plus, in some cases, they even charge us an extra 10-20p for that cup. Is that even fair? I did my research, asked around people in the industry, and sum up 3 reasons why your decaf coffee is not as good as it could be. And I will explaining this in simple terms while offering some solutions in this video. So let's go! Reason number 1, it is pre-ground rather than grinded on the spot. If you have seen your barista taking the order for a decaf, they would open up a small sachet with 20 grams of pre-ground coffee, fill in the portafilter and make your espresso. Maybe they will have a specific portafilter for decaf, and they might even have a specific spot in the coffee machine just for decafs. This is the right practice anyway, or just backflashing before pulling a shot of decaf. Now, if you have the chance to see my other video, you will know that ground coffee stales, gets altered, deteriorates quicker than coffee beans. It has more surface area, oxygen heats faster, oxidation and other processes are accelerated. It has a shorter shelf life, period. Don't we have decaf coffee beans, you might ask? Well, we do, at least in theory. It could be possible. But the economics of it don't add up, especially given that we will have to go through a separate roasting process, a separate grinder in the coffee shop, costing on average maybe 2k, whatever about having space on the bar, or power source, if retrofitted, that is supposed to be used only for grinding decaf. This will not only add up too much cost to the product, it will also take time from the barista, which given the demand, it is not justified. So we are left with a pre-ground sachet with a use by day. This trend is changing, however, in the specialty coffee shop scene, with many devoting a grinder and serving top quality specialty decaf. I left a link in the description down below for really a good and promising coffee company in Switzerland. Reason number 2, the use by day could be overdue. The decaf pre-ground coffee could be slightly outside its suggested use by day for barista. In most cases, for standard coffee, this is about a month after the roasting day. My sources are telling me that the pandemic uncertainty, global trade shortages have put this under pressure, and most coffee shops fail to keep this in check. But independently of this, the decaf is pre-ground, so the deterioration is even faster. Evidently, the packaging really makes a difference to be light and air impermeable, and of course, the less air space, the better. As we know, during storage, CO2 escapes from the pores, there is an exchange of gases with the atmosphere, the product loses volatile aroma flavors, as well as it is exposed to oxidation. Reason number 3, there is less variety of coffees to choose from. This is evident not just in the coffee shop, it is also evident with a visit to your local supermarket. And let's just deal with the instant coffee for the sake of the argument. My supermarket had 40 normal coffee options, trust me, I've counted them, and 2 decafs. So bye-bye variety. I know, online may be better, but hey, just stating the obvious here. Sorry, I mean, the demand is not increased and there will be less variety, and thus, depending on the cost, quality might be pushed down. That's economics. If you think about it in the global coffee market, which coffees and which varieties are ending up treated for decaffeination? The standard ones, the ones that people appeal to the most. For example, subtle acidity, medium to dark roast chocolate notes. Specialty coffee will be harder to get it to that route. The process is currently too harsh and too expensive for specialty coffee to go through, having in mind how difficult and costly it was to produce these complex flavor profiles and see them getting affected by the decaf process. This is definitely a new growth area full of innovation about different decaf methods that retain the inherent taste profile of the bean, which I would love to cover in a future video. So what can we do? Well, the best thing about decaf coffee is that there is no caffeine in your cup. Wait, what? That's not fun. The last statement alone sums up the argument here. Most people drink coffee for the taste, but for the caffeine kick. And even if I try to convince people in this video that decaf coffee and caf coffee could be interchangeable during the week without any implication in productivity and overall energy, see the video, the reality is still harsh. The decaf market is still small, and I want to say less than 10% maybe, without having seen the evidence. This is, however, has a follow-up effect in coffee variety, in coffee quality, and here is the reality check on the cost of it. Let's not be naive. The extra processing of decaf coffee gonna cost, and remember, it is completely optional, and yeah, it costs money. It has a larger supply chain too. The cost of the decaf is higher when you try to buy in green beans. Very often it has been on 2 journeys from Kenya to Germany to be decaffeinated maybe there, and then coming back here in the UK for roasting. The decaf factories, the plants are often not in producing countries. Well, if more of us end users choose decaf, it will get better eventually because it will send a message up the chain to the coffee shops, the coffee companies, the traders, and the producers. Well, you know what? Actually, upon reflection, paying that extra 10p for the extra barista time and the effort needed to deal with decaf, from manufacturing to sourcing to roasting to grinding to finally brewing, I mean, that's not a bad deal, is it? It's not a bad idea at all. But now I want to know from you. Do you see a rising trend at home or at work, at conferences or food stalls? Is there gonna be demand for decaf coffee? Is decaffeinated coffee becoming a thing or not really picking up? Are you a decaf coffee drinker? Do you like the taste of it at all? I would love to know. And that's all from me. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye!
Run away, I don't have to plan it. I can go change my fate.